Hey guys, we're back again. I'm Chelsea Williams, founder of Core Solutions Group. We've set out to help law owners understand the business side of their craft through outsourced tax, accounting, and cash management services. But to further our cause, we created this video series, which focuses on the top 10% of law firm owners. Over 90% of businesses die before they make it to the 10-year mark. These discussion-style interviews feature those who have made it past the 10 years and have a heart to help new or struggling law firm owners get some clarity around how to manage how to get to the next level. They do it by empowering you with their stories and real life examples so you can identify opportunities for improvement and take the actions that are required to see it through. Today we have with us Bernard Nomberg. Now, I noticed this guy doing some very unique things on Facebook when I first dove into the legal industry over a year ago, and he immediately caught my attention as an innovator in his space, and I've been following him ever since. Now, to give you a little bit of background on Bernard, he is one of the two partners at the Nomberg Law Firm. He just celebrated over 25 years in business for himself. Congratulations, Bernard. That is awesome. His practice areas are workers' comp, personal injury, and social security. Like I said, he has one other partner. To give you an idea of where Bernard is sitting in terms of annual revenue, for 2018, they were upwards of almost $1 million in their firm. So to give you an idea of where they're at in the space, the size, that's a little bit about him. So without further ado, Bernard, let me ask you a question as we get started here. I'm curious, tell us about the vision you had when you first started and how that vision evolved and came to a reality for you.
Sure, and good morning, Chelsea. Thank you for having me on your show. I'm honored to be here and spend a few minutes with you and your audience. I've been practicing, as you said, 25 years, just celebrated my 25th year in April. And my business partner is my youngest brother, David. We've been partners for almost 16 years now, it'll be in December. So we're very proud of that, having a family-run business. Our father, Joel, is happily retired down on the Alabama Gulf Coast. He was an attorney in our hometown of Dothan, Alabama for about 46 years until he moved west near Mobile and Pensacola in a small town called Gulf Shores. But Dad is of counsel. But we have a middle brother, Robert, who lives up in Richmond. He's not a lawyer. He's a professor and does some other philanthropic things. But we all grew up in Dad's law firm. And I saw the changes that he was able to make with his clients in such a positive way. And it wasn't always about money. In fact, it was rarely that was the number one concern for the client. But his job, as I saw it, and this is really what turned me onto the law, was that he was able to take problems that clients came to him and help to fix them, or to at least lower their stress by getting answers for them, whether it was medical care, further employment, compensation, whatever the situation may be. I just thought that was such a positive change, a positive way to give to the community, that really is what inspired me to go to law school. And if you were to ask my brother David, he would tell you a very similar story. So that really is the genesis of the inspiration of why I went to law school.
That's amazing. So you mentioned that, your dad said that it wasn't even necessarily about the money. I have this saying that I try to remind myself and the law business owners that I work with: profits should be a byproduct of passion. And if you don't have that passion, it's very hard to find the fuel to get up each day and do what you do. And it sounds like you really have a well-rounded why as to what drives you. So let's speak a little bit to that. Help me explain, because, I talk to a lot of people that don't really believe in the why thing, and it's just, they don't buy into it. And, I believe sometimes you find your why outside of your business. Your business is a vessel, right? There has to be a bigger why outside of it that gets you to drive that vessel. So tell me a little bit about, how you identified your why and the role that it plays in your business.
Absolutely. And this is one of the things that I am most passionate about. I don't have a job. I don't look at it as a job. A job is something I have to do.
That's right.
I have a profession and I love my profession. And we have a saying at the office that we've had for many years. And the saying, or our motto, is keep chopping wood. And what does that mean? Well, it can mean many things to many people. But to us, the story that we heard, the legend, true or not, I love the story, is there was a man in a small town in Europe who did nothing else but chop wood. He did it all day. He did it every day. He did that his whole life. It may seem like a mundane task to most people, but he was good at it and he loved doing it. And what it meant to us, or means to us, is we have found that niche in the law that we're very good at least we think we are. At least I think our results show that. So we keep chopping wood every day. And I live 6/10 of a mile from my office. Frequently I walk to the office just because we're that close. But I don't mind staying late hours because I enjoy what I'm doing. And that really is our why. And you don't see us on billboards. You don't see us on television. We don't try to compete with those types of lawyers, the big firms, big budgets. That's just not our personality. Our personality is to show you who we are, because I firmly believe you're not hiring a law firm, you're hiring lawyers. You're hiring individuals who you want to get your information from, to help lower your stress, to give you those answers. That's our why.
Yeah. And I want to point out, listening to you talk, not only does your why drive you, but you've incorporated that why into a vision internally into your firm and projected onto your team so that they can also buy into the greater mission, the greater cause. I once heard somebody say, and I absolutely believe it, that we will do more for others than we are willing to do for ourselves, which can be hard to believe in today's time and age, the things that we're seeing on the news but I really do believe it, that people are more moved to do something for someone else than to do something for themselves. And so by, you understand your why, you see it, you've identified it, and you've translated it and incorporated it into your law business for your team to also buy in and be motivated externally to contribute whatever it is they do towards the bigger cause. So tell us a little bit about your team and the different positions that you have in your firm and kind of how you utilize those positions efficiently.
Certainly. At our firm in Birmingham, Alabama, there's 2 lawyers, my brother David and myself. Like I said, our dad is happily retired down on the Gulf, so he's there by phone or video if we need him. But we have 5 support staff. And one of the things that we learned very early on, since we've been together, is these are not just employees. We know their families, we know their children, we know their parents. We celebrate birthdays, we celebrate anniversaries, we celebrate the wins and the losses together. We also have a lot of expectation for each of the members of our team. We have 3 paralegals, we have an intake specialist, and we have a jack of all trades, if you will. And knock on some wood somewhere, we don't fire people. They just stay with us. And it really is, I think, in part, the way we treat people with as much fairness as we can. We empower people in our firm, but at the same time, we have expectations that things get done in a timely manner. David and you happened to catch me at a conference this week. David and I are both out of the office for most of the week. And while we do check in with the office from time to time, I have no doubt that what we need to get done is and will be done by the time we get back later in the week.
And I don't think that's something that a lot of law firm owners can say. If I leave the office for an extended amount of time, it will still be intact when I return. So I would imagine then that the way you're able to do that is that you have created and recorded processes and procedures for your team to follow, and they're documented. So talk a little bit about what it takes to be able to leave the office and know everything's going to be okay.
Sure. Each of the members of our team started out in the same position and worked their way, I'm not going to say up, maybe more laterally, because it's just different positions, and each position requires different job tasks. The paralegals handle the litigation or the filings or dealing with clients. The intake specialist deals with new calls. She deals with opening, closing files and those types of things. But all of these people in our office have been cross-trained, because they learned each of the other positions as they evolved to their current positions. So that really helps out things. The other is our paralegals are empowered to communicate with our clients. While they can't give legal advice, of course, but they know that there is up to a certain point what they can communicate. Now, one of the things that we've done that I think kind of separates ourselves from our competitors, if you will, in our market, is we have a very active social media presence, including YouTube. We have over 500 videos on our YouTube channel, most of which are nuggets about different areas of the law that we handle. Well, there's no replacing actually talking with us, one of the attorneys. We frequently will send current clients or prospective clients to that YouTube channel. They can do a search on the channel for the subject matter that is pressing a need to financiers. So our staff also knows how to use that channel and to communicate to clients and prospective clients that helps answer questions as well.
That's great. And like you said, so you're empowering your team with these tools that they know then to refer out. And I love how you use the word empowered over and over again. There was a study done, I want to say about 6 to 8 years ago, and it was a pie chart on what motivates employees. And I think a lot of times we often default to this mindset of, well, I got to pay them more if I want them to do better and care more. You know, I got to pay them. And money was in fact one of the things on the bottom of the list that motivated employees. And at the top of the list were things like acknowledgement, appreciation, trust, or as you put it, empowerment. And, you know, I think that that's something that's very important, and not, you know, that's not what we revert to initially until we start to understand these concepts and think a little further about it. It's really easy as a business owner to go, well, if I want a person that does a really good job, I got to pay him a lot of money, or I got to give them a raise to make them happy.
We haven't found that to be true.
Yeah, I would agree. I would agree.
I think we pay comparable wages for the jobs, the tasks and the positions that they fill for our market. But we also do other things that I probably haven't mentioned yet, is we will give them bonuses in the middle of the week, like on a Wednesday, without notice to them. Or we'll send them home or send them out to lunch without us that we'll pay for. We just try to create some different ways to keep them engaged, to keep them happy. Because when they're happy and doing what we need from them, it flows both ways. It helps us as well.
Yes, and that's really important because they interface with clients directly and they're representing the firm. So I agree, it's so important to, you know, for them to have that mindset too. And, you know, so there's a book out there. Have you read Good to Great?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, Good to Great, and a couple other business books that I've read actually refer to this. They talk about not only having the right people on the bus, so making sure that you have the right positions on your bus or your team in your business, but also making sure that the right people are in the right seat and working in their strength zone. And it sounds like you recognize that, because you said these people almost developed from this initial position into these lateral positions.
Well, it's interesting, Chelsea, that you bring that up. We actually, about 6 months ago, 2 of the women in the office came to us and said, we'd like to swap our responsibilities. One was better suited personality-wise to deal with the public, our potential clients, our current clients. The other was more organized with her computer skills for filing and those types of things. And we were all for it.
And, you know, I think that speaks to the same book, Good to Great. I've actually got it up here. So Good to Great, for those of you that have not read it or heard of it, it's basically this scientific study of publicly traded companies. And they used publicly traded companies because that was a constant that they could compare to. So they were very scientific in their approach. So much so that at the beginning of the study, they wanted to purposefully leave leadership out of the equation because they wanted to see what functionally these companies were doing that made them so successful over such a long period of time. And what ended up happening is it was undeniable that leadership has a direct correlation to success and sustainability. So that was one of my favorite parts about the book, and just the fact that your staff was able to approach you and be like, hey, can we switch jobs because we think it's better, speaks to, I think, your leadership, and also the importance of, why you made it past the 10-year mark, and over 90% of businesses don't. So I really salute you for that.
Well, thank you. We're proud of what we're building. We're proud of what we've built. There's too many lawyers. Well, end of sentence. There's too many lawyers. But in our market, a lot of our colleagues, I wouldn't say a lot, that's not a fair statement. We know of several colleagues over the last few years who have gone on to different professions completely outside of the law, because either they're not happy with what they're doing, they can't sustain the lifestyle, I guess, that maybe they were hoping for or once had. But for whatever their reasons, they're just no longer practicing law.
Yep. You are a person on your own bus, right? Finding the right people on your bus. You are one of those people. So yeah, you definitely have to be passionate and love what you're doing, because nobody wants to be miserable.
Life's too short.
It really is. I heard something once, somebody said, entrepreneurs are the only professionals that will leave a 40-hour-a-week work job to go work 80 hours a week and make less. So if you're doing it, it better be for good reason. You better be working towards a goal that's working less and making the same or more.
That's right.
All right, so let's shift gears here a little bit. I want to talk about the habits that you have had to develop, or that you have noticed and developed over your career over the past 25 years, both personal, if you have any personal habits that you do, like morning routines, and also let's touch on some of the business technical habits, kind of like we discussed, looking at financials and your KPIs that you're looking at on a regular basis.
Well, I'll start with habits. Exercise has always been vitally important to me and to my brother, to our family. We put on our calendars each week, in addition to any meetings, depositions, trials, travel, when we're going to exercise each day. And the goal is to exercise every single day, whether it's getting out in the trails behind my office. We're blessed to have a mountainside with 11 miles of trails, or going to yoga, lifting weights, swimming, whatever it is. I try, it doesn't happen every day, but I try to do something every single day. And the office staff knows during that hour or 90 minutes that we're gone, things can wait. There really is never that big of an emergency. If they really need us, they'll get to us. But they know how important it is to us. The other habits I would say, and this may just sound very basic, but is trying to have a good diet and rest and sleep. It's all part of a wellness approach that we started many, many years ago. We've always been into athletics. I played college football. David and I both played high school football. And it's always been very important to us. And without that, without your health, then none of the other parts of your life are going to be fulfilled. You're relied upon by your family, your loved ones, your spouse or your significant other, then your friends, and then your staff who you work with and work for, and then the clients. Because if you don't have good health, then everything else suffers. As it's a snowball effect. So I'd say away from the office, those are a lot of our habits that I really try to incorporate, and very important to me.
And can we just take a moment to speak to and be very direct and honest? One of the things that I discovered once I started studying the legal industry is the overwhelming statistics in mental health challenges that lawyers face when compared to other industries. And so the importance of self-care and recognizing the need to take care of yourself, and physically and mentally, I think deserves a lot of attention in this space.
It absolutely does. And there's no two people have the same situation. There's a saying, everyone has something they're dealing with. Mm-hmm. To me, you have two types of stress. Now, keep in mind, Chelsea, I'm not medically trained whatsoever. You have the daily stress that is, what am I going to eat today? What am I wearing? Who am I going to, those types of things that I think is in the front of your head. And I'm sure doctors and people who are medically trained are going to cringe at what I'm saying. But that's the daily stress that everyone deals with. Then the back of the head stress are the big picture items. Am I going to be able to earn enough money during my life to make me comfortable? Are my children going to grow up and be good contributors to society? The big picture things. And I think if you can control the daily, the front of the head stress, the back of the head stress will take care of itself. And it may not sound like a connection, but at least in my mind it is. And that's what helps me. If I keep doing those things that I think are successful, that I see I'm getting the results. And again, it's not always about money. It's about being content. It's about being happy. It's about doing those things that really bring me joy and helps me to bring joy and happiness, if you will, to others. And I just think that's so important. Plus, I'm not too proud to admit that I'll take a cat nap or two at my desk in the afternoon. It makes me more productive the rest of the day.
All right, everybody's got permission from a top 10 percenter. Cat naps on your desk during the day are allowed. That's
Now,
a thing.
I don't pull a George Costanza. I don't go fully under the desk and all of that.
You don't have a shelf with like your pictures and a blanket? Oh.
That may be my next, the next level. But for now, I just turn the chair around and take a 5 or 10 minute snoozer.
There you go. All right. So what about some of the business habits? What are some habits that you perform in the office on like a monthly or a routine basis that you think keep you on track to reach your goals?
It may sound basic, and this is what parents teach children, but it's the same in business. Don't spend more than you have. Period. Don't spend more money than you have. Don't, and I know that most businesses live off of credit. I get that. We also do at times. You have to for those things, but you got to have a plan in place. Not just the fact that the bank will loan you all this money. That's great. But how are you going to pay it back? What are you going to do with that money? And that's not something that is ever taught in law school. We have a third-year student right now who's getting class credit for doing what's called an externship. She's putting in, I think, about 180 hours this semester with us in exchange for some class credit. Well, one of the things as we were interviewing her that she really wanted to learn about, but they don't teach in school, is office administration, how to run a small firm, and the like. So we're giving her a crash course about just those things. And this is not something that, it is something that evolved over time with David and me. It's learning, it's succeeding, it's failing, but it's keep coming back to the office, working hard, and just making progress each day. You've heard the term, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon. Well, it's that way. It's the practice of law. And I've yet to meet an attorney who's perfected it. And when I mean by perfection, there are attorneys who make ungodly amounts of money, but how happy are they? It's not always, money doesn't always equal happiness. What's the saying from the movie in the 90s, mo money, mo problems? Well, just go look at the headlines. You'll see that all the time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's amazing. So you've developed an externship for a current law student to teach them what they're not learning in law school, but would need if they choose to build a law business.
It's part of what we're doing. The school offers the externship. It's our school where we went, right. Jones School of Law in Montgomery, Alabama. And she's a third-year student. And she's going to court with us, depositions, mediations, and the like. She's writing papers for us. But also as part of that, and really is not, I don't think this was designed as part of the curriculum, if you will, but she was asking us, or we were asking her, what are some things that really you want to know more about, but they don't offer it in school? And that was one of the topics. So we spend a few minutes or a little bit of time, not daily, but each week, just sharing a little bit more for her.
Yeah, I think that's so important. I heard someone say recently, there is no substitute for business savvy. And, one of the things that I have built my practice on is the fact that, in law school, there is no financial literacy. There is no business, how to, run a business. And so for lawyers that go out on their own, they don't have this information. And one of the things that lawyers have that I think is unique to them when they own their own business, in all but a few states, you have to be practicing licensing by the bar, which means that the 80-20 rule, work 80% on your business, 20% in your business, is really hard to juggle because you're the breadwinner, especially in the beginning. And so the need to know how to delegate, when to delegate, and how to oversee is more so than someone who, say, can be a passive business owner, own the store down the street and hire a manager to run everything. It's different, and it's a gap, I think, in the legal industry for law business owners.
Well, for a two-attorney firm who are brothers, we're brothers first, we're business partners second, it's definitely a hands-on. Our meetings, firm meetings, if you will, and I'm using air quotes, might be going to lunch, might be jogging on the trail, might be driving somewhere. We do meet as a firm every 2 weeks to make sure everybody's on track, and we answer questions that have come up, deal with difficult clients and cases. But we continually have our what I'll call firm meetings. There's no hands off about this. Can't be, not when you're that small.
And I like what you said in the beginning. You said, don't spend more than you have. Mm-hmm. And so I give a CLE presentation. And the first thing that I do is I say, look, money is simple. We overcomplicate it. You get some, you spend some, and ideally you got some left. And there's really only two ways to manipulate that. Either you make more or you spend less. Mm-hmm. And it's really that, it's really that simple. It's not that easy to follow and manage, but it really is that simple. So, I can really appreciate, keeping it simple like that.
I don't know any other way.
Awesome. Well, we've got just a few minutes here left. I want to talk a little bit about, so what drew my attention to you, Bernard, when I first saw you, it was, I don't even know how or why, but it was on Facebook and you were doing a Facebook Live and it wasn't even about law. So I want to have a discussion around, my expertise is not marketing, but as a financial professional, I do recognize the absolute need in 2019, about to be 2020, to invest a little bit into marketing, whatever that may unfold to be for each firm, investing in some type of marketing. So talk to us a little bit about what you're doing on Facebook and how you came to do that and kind of the results you're seeing.
Certainly. I keep thinking that I keep telling you and your audience of what I'm not. I'm not medically trained. I'm not trained in finance and marketing. Most all of this has just come through the practice of law and just being dedicated to the craft. About 3 years ago, David and I recognized in our market, because it's a very competitive market, what we do, workers' comp is the lion's share of our caseload, and that's representing injured workers in Alabama who've been hurt in the workplace. There's only so many cases every year. And there's a finite number of people in our state, a finite number of injuries, and the laws haven't changed since 1985. And I'll get off my soapbox about that because the amount of money and compensation that injured workers can receive in Alabama is far inferior to the rest of the country. But what we recognized is that we needed to, we needed to figure out how to separate ourselves from our competitors, who are really our friends, to be honest, but they're competitors. If they've got the case, then it's a case I don't have. Anyway, we got into social media. And that's our marketing. That's where we spend our time. We have we actually have 2 YouTube channels. We have over almost 800 videos between the 2 channels. And it's not all about the law. As you recognized or that you may have seen, I have a weekly series called On the Trail. And it's me literally hiking somewhere or on the beach or somewhere out and about, because I do love the outdoors and hiking is a passion of mine. In fact, on Sunday, I'm in Santa Barbara, California this week. I went on the beach and shot at daybreak, just after daybreak on the trail. And it's not about the law, but it's my way of showing I'm just another guy like anybody else who's watching my videos. Our experience has shown us that the average person who's never hired a lawyer is scared to talk to them. They think they're going to be charged as soon as the phone is picked up. They feel like a lot of times, and our clients will tell us this when we ask them at the end of our cases, we always do a survey and kind of an exit interview, if you will. Why didn't you contact us earlier, or what made you pause from contacting us? Well, I don't know you. You have so much education. You seem so polished. Well, part of what we want to get across in some of our social media is David and I are just like you. We may have a little bit more education. We may have a little bit more knowledge in the way the law operates, but I still have the same problems you do for the most part. But being on the trail lets me talk about topics that are just top of mind. Hopefully the same things that you and I think of when we've got concerns. So that has really spurned our social media approach. And we have a few different weekly shows on social media, and as well as all of the law videos on that YouTube channel. And that really is how we've been able to set ourselves apart in our market.
Nice. And I can really appreciate that. I think you make a good point, because it is very perceived that lawyers are intimidating. And to be able to, for a prospective client or somebody just watching on, they don't really buy into your business and your services. They buy into you as an individual. So if you have a pinstripe suit on, which is what typically we think lawyers should wear, right? That can be really intimidating. Have you happened to there's a report that Clio just released, their annual report. Have you had a chance to look at that?
I know of it, but I have not yet.
So I did a video on this report. So if you're not sure what I'm talking about, you can go to my YouTube channel and check it out too. But they did this really interesting survey. They emailed 1,000 law firms, and they had a criteria for responses. And then they called 500 law firms, and they recorded the results. But it was remarkable to me, the opportunity lost from following up with these people. And it also confirmed, the ironic thing about it is, it also confirmed that these people that have these pre-assumptions about lawyers, that, shoot, maybe I was right, this just doesn't make me feel any more comfortable. So I think that has to be definitely what sets you guys apart, because I follow a lot of different lawyers on social media, and I'm not seeing too much of them doing that. So I really, again, commend you guys for finding a way to get out there and actually relate to people who might be working with you, and make them feel like, hey, I'm just another person. This is okay, So I really commend you for that.
Well, thank you, Chelsea. One of the other things that we do with our videos is there's not a lot of polish to them. Our clients and people we've asked, they don't care how polished it is. They want the content. They want to believe the person who's on the screen, and they want to know what the information is they're looking for.
Exactly. Well, hey guys, we are almost out of time. So before we leave, Bernard, tell us what the best piece of advice that you can share with our viewers who may be either a new law business owner or a struggling law business owner. What's your best piece of advice for them? And also, if people want to get in touch with you, can they do that? And if so, how?
Well, they can certainly. We're on all social media, the Nomberg Law Firm. We're based in Birmingham, Alabama. We handle cases throughout the state. Our office number is 205-930-6900. Our website is nomberglaw.com. Please try and find us on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, you name it, not Snapchat. But I think my advice would be, it's very hard in these days to be a general lawyer. Our dad did that for a while, but he was in a very small town, but then he niched down. And what I mean by that is he found those areas of the law and he kept chopping wood. Again, it may sound simple, it may sound silly, but we chop wood, work comp, Social Security, personal injury, and that's it. We don't get outside of our comfort zone. We've cultivated referral partners with people who do all the other types of law around, and we make partners. We do what we do best. We try not to get outside of that.
Amazing. I think that's awesome advice. Bernard, thank you so much for your time today. I know this is going to be such a valuable video. We appreciate it.
Thank you for your time and allowing me to be on your show and to share a little bit with your audience, Chelsea.
Absolutely. Until next time, guys.